Okay, so today we have a 2015 Jeep Wrangler. The code that was setting is a P1731, which essentially it just says incorrect gear selected. We pulled a pan in it, bunch of metal material. It looks like whatever caused this problem damaged the transmission. So we're trying to figure out what is the actual cause, because we fixed the transmission, made sure everything was good there. Still have it going into limp mode. Essentially the problem is you accelerate, it doesn't know which gear to select, and it slams into each gear. According to the service information, you have so what we have, and it may change based off of what problem you may be experiencing, but essentially this RPM sensor N3 signal on our scan tool. So you need a scan tool that's compatible to be able to read data. We looked at this. This is the only item that shows basically no response. It just sits at 0. No matter what speed, no matter rotation, there's no signal at all. The way you check this essentially is just you got to figure out which pin. So N3 on this one. So we found a buddy of mine. He actually rebuilds transmissions. He's the one who helped us rebuild this one. He found this article on this specific kind of wiring diagram, connector view, schematic from ATSG. That's a kind of a transmission overview of all the connectors, the clutches, clutch packs, etc. So you have RPM sensor 3. We have to test the wire in it. You got 2 connectors on the transmission control module, and then you have 1 connector on the transmission itself. So you got pin 1, which is the top right pin here. Reverse, it would be top left. As you unplug it, it's just the pin that's nearest to that little cutout right here. And then you have pin 35 is the pin on the TCM side. So whatever signal you may be experiencing for this particular problem, you need to pull up a diagram similar to this to be able to test which actual circuit is not working. So we're not getting that. Obviously the description says TCM to conductor plate terminal chart. So when we rebuilt the unit, the conductor plate itself has 2 speed sensors on it. We actually replaced the conductor plate, still had the same problem. So we know either there's a wiring issue or the TCM has failed. So in order to get to these pins, you have to find out where the TCM is. On this particular vehicle, the TCM is under the dash. So a 2015 Wrangler, you have 2 connectors. There's some other videos on here. So you got to pull those 2 connectors behind the dash, connect your wiring, your multimeter, and make sure that you have continuity from this particular signal. So when I pulled the connector off the TCM, which is the shorter connector, pin 35, and then connected it to pin 1, I had less than 1 ohm. So I know that that circuit is not open. There's not a basically there's not an open in the circuit, meaning if there was, you'd have open resistance or unlimited resistance. So I have no resistance, which means I have good wiring from pin 35 to pin 1, from the TCM to the actual transmission connector. I have a new conductor plate, and the TCM essentially now is starting to narrow down to look like the failure. which is very frustrating and difficult to diagnose. The next test I did was keep it at pin 35, and I connected the other side, the other terminal, to ground to make sure I don't have a short to ground. That wasn't the case. It was still open when I did that. Then I checked every single pin on the terminal. Again, open on every single circuit, meaning I don't have continuity. It's not cross-referencing any data. The only other possibility is potentially it could have a short to power, but in that case, if that is what's happening, you will see different codes. And this one doesn't set any codes. It literally just can't select the proper gear because it doesn't see this signal. The computer is not receiving a signal, so it doesn't select the correct gear, and it shifts incorrectly and goes into neutral, goes into limp mode. So there's no other codes associated. Recommend TCM in this particular situation. We're going to try a used TCM. I will leave a comment to let you know if that works on this particular make and model. It may not. We may not be able to program it. I don't know yet. If it does, I'll let you know. If it doesn't, I'll let you know. And then we got to go to the dealer to get a new OEM part and then program it. So they do have specific part numbers for the TCMs on these vehicles. So that's what I based it off of when I got a new TCM, is I just ordered the same part number to try to save the customer some money. If you have any questions about anything, leave a comment and let me know. Hopefully this helps somebody that is dealing with I think it's like a 2013 to 2017 Wrangler transmission going into limp mode. This is a potential cause. So the conductor plate is also a common problem with these going into limp mode, as well as the tip-em. So Dodge is not known for their electrical expertise, so to say. So good luck to those out there trying to diagnose these.